Ryan, a dedicated bus driver, was suspended for waiting an extra few minutes for an elderly passenger, John. 2 days later, as Ryan faced an uncertain future, 5 men on motorbikes appeared outside his home. Little did Ryan know, this unexpected visit would change his life in ways he never imagined. Ryan was a straightforward, simple kind of man who worked for the state transportation company. When he was a teenager, he had always wanted to own his own transportation agency, hence his passion for driving buses. Unfortunately, life was not so easy for Ryan. At age 37, he still lived with his parents and had been divorced twice. Every morning, Ryan would wake up early, just in time to work out and have breakfast before 7 a.m. By that time, he would already be at work. Since Ryan worked different shifts, some days he had to wake up earlier, while other days he resumed work in the afternoon. One of Ryan's favorite parts about being a bus driver was meeting different people almost every day. Although he drove the same route daily and knew some regular passengers, he still got to meet new people often. Most of the passengers he drove would chat with him, while others preferred their own company, offering only a polite nod as they got on and off. Some were downright rude, treating him with a lack of respect as if he were invisible and unworthy of their time or consideration. Ryan had come to realize that this was just part of the job. He couldn't please everyone. Another reason Ryan enjoyed driving every day was because of John, a man in his 70s who still worked at a DIY store in town. John wasn't one to sit idle at home. He preferred to stay busy and stick to a routine, and Ryan would pick him up daily. Unlike some other passengers who snubbed Ryan and treated him like he was a nobody, John was a very kind man and loved chatting with Ryan. On some days, when John was on the bus, he would sit behind Ryan, and they would chat about the weather, the economy, or the latest sporting event. On the days John didn't sit behind Ryan, he would simply bring him a cup of coffee, chat briefly about their morning, and then retire to his seat of choice. Over the years, Ryan formed a close bond and friendship with John. He always looked forward to John's coffee, his warm smile, and the simple kindness of asking, "How are you today, Ryan?" It was a small moment that brightened Ryan's day. John didn't know it, but Ryan looked up to him as a father. John was the version of a father Ryan had always wanted, and their short conversations each day strengthened their bond. It wasn't that Ryan didn't have a father. He did, but it wasn't the version he wanted. As a child, Ryan's father was verbally abusive and would hit him at the slightest provocation. Not only that, but his father was a chronic alcoholic and was barely around for his family. Sometimes he would disappear for a week or more, leaving Ryan's mother to care for him. Ryan spent most of his childhood and teenage years being afraid of his father instead of spending quality time with him. Unfortunately, by the time Ryan's father became sober and tried to make things right with his family, Ryan had already built a thick, high wall around himself. It was impossible to make things right between them, even though Ryan's father tried his best to get close to Ryan and make up for his abusive and absent years. Their relationship remained strained, as both struggled with communication and expressing their feelings. When Ryan met John and saw how warm and fatherly he was, he began to look up to John as his father. Every Father's Day, Ryan would get John a gift, which always made John happy. John thought the gestures were simply Ryan's way of showing respect to an older gentleman. A proud father of 5 sons, John often shared stories about his boys, who were all grown men. "I hope I will get to meet them one day," Ryan would say whenever John talked about his boys. "It's a small world, Ryan. I'm sure you will. Who knows, Maybe you've met one of them already, and you don't even know it, John would reply. You might be right, John, Ryan would answer, and the two would burst into hearty laughter. In all the years Ryan had been picking John up at the bus stop, John had never missed his bus or been late. To ensure he didn't miss it, John would arrive at the stop 10 to 15 minutes before Ryan's bus arrived. The only days Ryan didn't pick up John were on his off days, which John knew about, and on weekends. One morning, as usual, Ryan left home early, picked up a few passengers on his normal route, and headed straight to John's bus stop, expecting to see John waiting for him. But surprisingly, John wasn't there. It was unlike him to be late. After all the passengers entered the bus and settled down, they expected Ryan to drive off, but he didn't. He was still waiting for John to show up. After 5 minutes passed and Ryan still refused to drive off. Many passengers began to complain, but Ryan didn't listen. Precisely 10 minutes later, Ryan spotted John walking briskly to the bus. "Oh, thank goodness, Ryan. I thought you had left already," John said as soon as he got on the bus. "No, I didn't. I waited to see if you would still show up," Ryan replied. "What happened? It's unlike you to be late. I wasn't feeling too well this morning and called in sick, but my boss declined because yesterday was my day off," John explained. "Oh, sorry about that. But if you're not feeling well, it's not advisable to go to work. Anything could happen." Ryan said in a concerned tone, "It's nothing serious. I just feel tightness in my chest. I'm sure it will stop soon. I'm sorry I didn't get you coffee today. I barely had time to stop at the coffee shop," John added. "Oh, it's nothing, John. I am just glad you got here in time," Ryan said. Shortly after, Ryan dropped all the passengers, including John, at their destination. His boss called him to report to the office immediately. Sadly, it turned out the angry passengers who were forced to wait for John had reported Ryan's actions to the company, which was why they called him in. "Is it true that you wasted the passengers' time this morning at the bus stop?" Ryan's boss, Mr. Phillips, asked in a husky voice. "I'm sorry, sir. It was just a few minutes," Ryan explained. "A few minutes? Some of those passengers were late to work because you delayed them by 10 minutes, Mr. Phillips said. "I'm sorry, sir. It won't happen again," Ryan apologized. "You're right, it won't. You will be going on a 2-week unpaid suspension. That should give you enough time to think about your actions and commitment to this organization," Mr. Phillips said. "Oh, sir, please don't do that. I swear it will not happen again," Ryan pleaded. "Thank you, Ryan. You can leave now." "I have other things to attend to," Mr. Phillips replied. That morning, Ryan returned home feeling very sad. When his parents asked why he had returned so early, he refused to tell them what had happened. Because Ryan had been suspended, he wouldn't be able to drive John for 2 weeks or even get paid. But Ryan had no idea that something extraordinary was about to happen. 2 days after Ryan's suspension, an unexpected scene unfolded outside his house. That morning, the rumble of 5 motorbikes echoed through the quiet street, their engines breaking the silence. Ryan watched, puzzled and anxious, as the bikes pulled up one by one. He had no idea that John, having noticed his absence, had reached out to his sons. Using the small details Ryan had shared over the years, they had tracked him down. As the motorbikes revved, Ryan's unease grew. Something significant was about to happen. "Hi, I'm Ethan, John's eldest son." One of the men on the bikes introduced himself to Ryan. "Ah, how did you find me?" Ryan asked in a confused tone. Oh, about that. It's a small town, so finding you wasn't difficult. Our father, John, has spoken highly of you and mentioned how you waited for him 2 days ago. He also told us that you haven't shown up for your bus driving shifts the past 2 mornings. Is everything all right? Ethan asked. Oh yeah, about that. I got suspended at work for delaying the other passengers. But it's nothing. Your father is like a father to me, so no regrets, Ryan said. Wow, we didn't know about that. Well, here's the thing. We've recently started a logistics company focused on motorbike transportation. Our father said you've always wanted to be involved in this area. We need a manager to run our operations and would love to offer you the job, if you're interested, Ethan said. That sounds incredible. I'd be excited to join you and help out. Thanks for thinking of me, Ryan said excitedly. Great. John will be thrilled to know you're all set. Even though he doesn't need to work, his daily routine of getting on that bus and seeing you was a highlight of his week. Since you've not been around, he decided to leave his old job. Honestly, they weren't treating him well anyway. He'll be doing some light janitor work here, so we'll all get to spend more time together. With that, Ryan got a new job working with John's sons. The pay at the new job was 3 times better than his pay at the old job. Not only that, but John's sons and nephews treated Ryan like family, which had never happened at his old job. Ryan's new job brought him closer to John, and over time, their bond deepened. Ryan wasn't just a friend to John anymore. He became like a son. Together with his new brothers, Ryan helped grow the logistics business into a multi-million-dollar organization. Although Ryan's suspension felt like a setback at first, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. If it hadn't happened, he might never have landed the better-paying job as a logistics company manager. It shows that sometimes setbacks are just setups for something better, and a little patience can turn a difficult situation into a big win.